So let's get at it. I want to start by showing an example and telling you the story of some work that we've done with Lexus. And the challenge for us is really, how do we bring together all of the unique assets that we have within Microsoft, from audiences, to consumer insights, to technology, to marketing expertise? How do we bring all those together to solve a particular brand challenge? In the case of Lexus, and if we could have the browser up on the screen, we started with the challenge from the brand, which was the launch of a new vehicle, the CT Hybrid. The CT Hybrid. Now, if you know the Lexus brand well and you know anything about this launch, the vehicle here was targeted at a younger, affluent audience and is typically attracted to the Lexus brand. So this presented a particular challenge in terms of how do we speak to that audience. We took that challenge and came back with a number of ideas and landed on what we call fresh perspectives, creativity unconfined. So fresh perspective is all about how do we bring a fresh perspective to the brand and how do we satisfy this particular audience's unique need to engage in conversation-worthy experiences. And what we did here was combine a multimedia experience where we brought in different artists who represented photography, paper sculptor, singer-songwriter, clothing, fashion design, and had them solve particular challenges, bringing their unique perspectives into those challenges. In addition to that video-based aspect of the solution, we also wanted to do something a little bit different that tapped into social. And here I think all of us have probably either been in some conversation or maybe even made this particular request, which is, okay, how do we leverage the social world in a better way than we do today, right? How do we do it in a way that's more expressive and more conducive to the emotional energy that sits in people's social networks? And this is where we developed an application called Paint Your Profile. What you do is you sign into Facebook, and what it does is it takes your profile, takes your data, right? How many friends you have, where do you live, how many friends do your friends have, how many are male, how many are female, how many didn't specify, oddly enough, and then takes all of that and turns it into a piece of artwork, an abstract, personalized piece of art on the fly. And it's painting based on all the information inside your profile and using the colors from your profile photo and creating something that's entirely unique to this consumer. Completely reinforcing the notion of fresh perspective and allowing people to express themselves in a way that is rooted inside your social network, but doesn't reveal anything necessarily sensitive or that might be potentially embarrassing, for example. So, nobody can look at your profile photo and say that they know where you live or where you work, or that you happen to be a big fan of Wham, or that the last concert you went to was Justin Bieber. None of that comes up here. It's all just a safe way of expressing yourself, again, that really reinforces the brand. This is the kind of work that we get very, very excited about in terms of what we can do to bring creativity and expression to consumers. And it's this notion of democratization of media, right? How do we solve brand challenges by allowing consumers to tell their stories that we find particularly exciting? If we spin the globe just a little bit and move to Latin America, this is another example of where this democratization of media and this empowering of consumers is something that, again, we're particularly focused on in terms of how do we bring all of our audiences and technology capabilities together. This is a solution that was just launched for Sony Ericsson. So Sony Ericsson have a handset called the Xperia. The Xperia is designed to really stand for the principles of creativity and imagination, and bringing those together in a way that is unique to Sony Ericsson. We looked at this challenge and said, what if we could create a live improvisation solution? So what we've done here is created a solution where you'll see this actor, and you'll see actually all the actors, glance off camera occasionally. What we built is an improvisation solution where consumers could use Facebook, Twitter, Orkut, and send in one-word suggestions or titles and influence what's actually going on inside the improvisation. This one happens to be about creating a Western, and you'll see the actors are actually incorporating the transitions that come from consumers through these media. We think this is a really, really exciting way of bringing consumers into the media, engaging with them, having interact in a way that they can, in fact, see actors responding to their suggestions on the screen. What I consider even more amazing is that, and let me pause this because I fear now nobody's listening to me and everyone's following this exceedingly engaging novella, is that we did this across 7 markets and 2 languages. For many of us in the room, the challenge of how do you do a global or regional campaign is just exceedingly difficult. But in this case, we were able to bring together a campaign that ran across Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and Venezuela, and doing it in both Spanish and Portuguese, and building out these little novellas and these improvisation skits in a way that translated across the different markets. And there's a couple of examples, even one where we had the actors work completely without language, right? Just did pure pantomime to help us be able to use the content in an effective way across different markets and across the languages. So I offer this up as, again, a really good example of not only what can we do with creativity to create really cool, exciting experiences that help benefit a brand, in this case Sony Ericsson, but also doing it across regions and trying to solve some of the big, outstanding challenges out in the marketplace of how do you do this across multiple markets and geographies. Where I want to go next is spin the globe just a little bit further and go to China. And this is a project that was done as a proof of concept by our London-based team for Intel. Now, Intel stands for, among many things, creativity and innovation. And those are the pillars that they're really trying to nail in their brand advertising. One of the things that they do to reinforce this is sponsor the Creators Project, a series of global art exhibitions, and in this case, one in Beijing, where they asked us to come in and say, can you bring your digital prowess and your marketing expertise to try to extend what we do with these art exhibits? Because clearly people go physically to their art exhibits, but what could they do to extend this digitally to people who cannot travel to Beijing or cannot travel to one of these sites? And this is where we had a particularly good time, and I think effective good time in terms of how we tried to create a compelling experience through a lot of tools that I would say are just around the bend in terms of their availability. This is one of the iconic images from the exhibits. This beautiful light curtain that you could actually walk into, navigate, and it was quite popular. We use this as our single unifying brand image because it just resonates so well with creativity and innovation. And using deep zoom technology, we then can go in and see particular single images in very high resolution. So I can go in and actually see beads of sweat on this. If you want to really investigate the soul patch on this drummer, you could. I can come over here and go deep into this fierce Chinese warrior who seems to be a little bit too heavy on eating the carbs lately. More of a Kung Fu Panda situation. And we can go deep into all different areas of this. And again, crowdsourced content, professional content, all kinds of different sources of images, right, that we can bring together into a single common place. And I love the emotional connection, right, that you can get by looking at these images. For example, here, this is obviously an audience that's wrapped by one of the musical performances. This is, by the way, how exactly I imagine women react when they hear me sing at karaoke. And some of you may be laughing, may probably have gone to karaoke with me and probably know that that's certainly not true. But this is a great demonstration of, rather than just creating a gallery of images, of thumbnails, why not create something that ultimately rolls up to something that is really demonstrative of the brand? Now, beyond this, we also played with the technology that was developed within Microsoft Research called SenseCam. And SenseCam is just a camera that you can wear around your neck that takes photographs every 15, 30 seconds, whatever interval you want to set, but also looks for changes in lighting conditions. So have you gone outside? Have you gone indoors? And just basically takes stop-action photographs that you can then run as a stop-action video. In this case, using it to show what this particular staircase art looked like at the exhibit, and giving you a nice flavor for what that might have been like if you were there. And what I find interesting about this is that we're going opposite the technology trends. We're not trying to go higher definition. We're not trying to go higher production value, but we're putting production into regular people's hands, or in this case, around their necks, by having them show what they see and not having to worry about, again, necessarily dramatically high production value. What insight we gained from this experience, which I think was even more interesting, was giving it to one of our editorial staff and having him wear it as he went around the gallery. And now you actually get inside the shoes of an individual and see how does he navigate? What does he linger at, right? You can imagine giving this to one of the artists at the show, or to a celebrity, or if you extend this metaphor out, have it right along with one of your products, right? If you're in the autos vertical, if you're in, even in FMCG, right? What does the world look like from the perspective of a milk bottle, right? As it goes from the factory all the way to somebody's home. Some outlandish ideas for sure, but you can think about the interesting and fun ways that you can begin to gain new perspectives on the world. And again, always keeping in mind how this rolls up to the brand and to the overall brand challenge. And of course, it's all embedded inside this same overall single image that we used at the beginning.